In this segment of the optional content, we're going to explore how to level resources. First, we're going to review how to remove overallocations manually, and then look at leveling, which removes overallocations through the application of selectable and configurable business rules. Before we get started, if you are working in an environment including project server access, you want to be sure you do not publish your work in the optional content. Following the steps on this slide will make sure you are disconnected from project server while working on this content. Pause here if necessary and work on making the change before proceeding. Publishing files from this content could impact your regular projects, as we are going to change some settings. Whenever you are connected to project server, just avoid opening and editing the files of this content, and you will be safe. To start our review of removing overallocations manually, please download a new project plan from Blackboard. Save it locally on your computer. Be sure to open it in MS Project 2013 Professional and not the browser performing the download, and you should see overallocations in the form of red human-like figures in the indicator column. To manually remove overallocations, we can add dependencies so parallel tasks involving the same resource are serialized one after the other, replace the overallocated resource, assign additional resources, or manually add leveling delays. Note it is not a best practice to turn on automatic leveling. We might also reduce effort, but this should be done in collaboration with the resource that provided the initial estimate. If the overallocation is not severe, say 9 instead of 8 hours, you might just leave it alone. The resource may be able to finish the task earlier anyway, or you can assign overtime, which we'll see how to do in a future segment. In the required content, we saw how to reduce overallocation by adding task dependencies. Let's take a look at another strategy to remove the overallocation for Hany Morcos. Navigate the Resource Usage view to see Hany's workload the week of August 19th, 2012. Monday and Tuesday she is assigned to two 16-hour days, a severe overallocation that leads to a 52-hour week. Let's take a look at this issue in more detail. Change the time scale in the Zoom group to days and expand her task list. This allows you to see the two 16-hour days spent working on proof and review for 8 hours and create mockup for 8 hours. Reduce Hany's assignment to each of these tasks to 4 hours on Monday and Tuesday. Note there is now an indicator showing the editing of the assignment. While Hany is still overallocated on other days, Monday and Tuesday are now okay. This is an ideal scenario since you have also reduced the overall work of the project. However, the change needs to be made with some care and in collaboration with the resource. Hany needs to agree that cutting the work of both tasks is going to be doable. If not, you may need to assign another resource to finish the work, stretch out Hany's assignment on these tasks to more days, or take some other actions. You must use your judgment to select the best course of action. Make these changes now in your copy of the plan. Now let's take a look at how we can manually apply resource leveling to remove overallocations. So what is leveling? Leveling resolves all overallocations through a few methods that include delaying tasks, delaying assignment of resources to tasks, or splitting resource work on tasks. And these methods will maintain who is assigned to do the tasks and what the work or effort of the task is. As a result, you need to look at your project carefully before and after application of leveling to make sure you have not extended past hard deadlines or budget limitations. I would recommend using leveling only if you cannot manually resolve the overallocations by another method, or if the plan is too large or the number of allocations are too large for you to handle without the aid of software. The automatic leveling capability should be avoided by all but the most advanced users. The feature is powerful, but can impact schedules and does so without notification. So you may not be aware of all the changes and will lose control of your model. The selection of this setting also carries over to other plans, so I like to always be sure automatic leveling is turned off. Before leveling, pre-check your plan. Take a look at the project statistics available on the File tab Info selection. If you made the changes to Hany Morcos in the previous section, your project should finish on November 9th, 2012 at a cost of $74,017.25. We'll need to review this again after we level the resources. Now go to the resource sheet. You should see that Carol Poland, Hany Morcos, and Jane Dow are overallocated as they appear in red. Bring up the Leveling Options dialog box and we'll walk through this step by step. Leveling calculations should already have Manual selected since we made that choice in Content A at the very beginning of setting up a plan. Note how it carries through to this plan. For the basis, we want to choose day by day. In general, you should never go finer than this, such as to hour or minute, since the plans will be unrealistically detailed and take longer to compute. The checkbox to clear leveling values should be selected for this exercise. It makes sure previous leveling is removed before leveling with new options. You may want to deselect this box if you leveled, added more assignments, and want to level again but retain previous leveling. In general, I recommend leveling just before creating your baseline so you don't need to be concerned with these types of issues. Make sure that you are leveling the entire project. Leveling by a specific date range is rarely an option we want to choose. Perhaps if you have begun tracking work and want to create a new baseline with the remaining work leveled, it can have a use. For leveling order, select Standard. Standard delays according to dependencies, start dates, constraints, slack, priority, and IDs. IDs only simply looks at the task numbers. Priority Standard looks at a value that must be established and assigned first. Standard is the most natural way to determine leveling. Leveling only with available slack should be cleared. This will allow the project end date to be extended if necessary. You might select this if there is a lot of slack, but hopefully if you developed a good plan, there is not a lot and resources are appropriately utilized. You want leveling to adjust assignments and split tasks if necessary. This is the key purpose of leveling. You also want to level both manually and automatically scheduled tasks. If you are following the advice from Content A and B, there should be no manually scheduled tasks, but we are selecting for this plan since there are a couple. Once you have completed your selections, click Level All. Notice the changes are immediately reflected in the resource sheet you are viewing. Carol, Hany, and Jane are no longer overallocated. Use the More Views dialog to find the Leveling Gantt view. This will show you the pre-leveled tasks on top and the new arrangement of the tasks on the bottom. The best news, though, is that for this project, the deadline was not extended and the cost did not change, since the overallocations could be resolved within the available slack time. Thanks for viewing the optional content on resource leveling. This video is independent of the other content. Save your file if you want to review the changes in the future. However, it will not be used in future video content.